Alright. So I figured I'd make one of these update videos. It's been a while. Now, today was supposed to be a school day, but for the second time in a row, they've postponed exams because the school buses are not running, because I live in Canada, it is currently winter, there is ice everywhere, including on the roads. And also, I've been to school on a day where the buses didn't run, and there were almost always under 5 people in the classes, so it totally makes sense why they're not doing the exam, because if that many people miss the exam, then a whole lot of people are gonna fail. I don't take the bus, I walk to school, I live practically across the street from the school. Practically, it's really like a few blocks away, but nah. That's completely unrelated, I'm just explaining why this video is happening on a day where it should not be at a time when it should not be. It is currently 8:54 in the morning, so I'm going to try my best to be quiet, because some people are still probably either sleeping or just waking up. With that being said, let's talk about stuff. So, on my main channel, which is what I've been using a lot recently for things like live streaming, almost in a way to replace the update videos, but I don't plan on doing that quite yet. On my main channel, I just released the trailer for Formula Fanboy Infinity Bit Season 3. A little while ago, I think a few months ago actually, I put out a teaser trailer on this channel for Infinity Bit Season 3, which wasn't really because I was ready to start advertising it, it was more so just because I wanted to reassure people, yes, this is a thing that's going to happen, I haven't just been sitting on my rear this whole time. Because when you take as long as I did to make Season 3, which I'm still technically not done, then you should kind of expect people to be a little worried that nothing's gonna even happen. And I was 100% convinced that there were at least a few people who at that point were just like, yeah, it's not happening. So it was like 10 seconds long, I don't even think it was 10 seconds long. There was a little clip at the end of Carl Caliber saying something stupid, and without that it was under 10 seconds long. But it was just a little combination of some random footage that pretty much meant nothing. Hey, like most of the trailers I make. Set to a little snippet of the song that I had planned to use to make the trailer, because fun fact, whenever I start making a season of Infinity Bit, the first thing I think of is what song is going to be in the trailer. It was just a little thing of footage for people to watch and be like, hey, you know, it exists, and it's not all lies. I'm sorry, am I overusing this? When I scroll my mouse wheel now with this new laptop, the camera zooms in. It's pretty cool. I don't know. I think it is. What, you got a problem with that? I'm very easily amused. Moving on. So I finally put out a proper trailer that's, I think, 2 minutes and 5 seconds, something like that. It was everything I hoped it would be. It's somewhat action-packed. I try to usually put some sort of action-y thing in there, because most of the songs I use for the trailers are all energetic and stuff, so I gotta put some sort of energetic visuals to that. Problem with Infinity Bit and using action as a selling point for its trailers is the fact that it's a very dialogue-based show. Like, the vast overwhelming majority of the scenes in Infinity Bit and all of the seasons are just people talking to each other. And while that's definitely not a bad formula to have, I said the thing. Like, for example, one of the most popular shows of all time that I personally never really liked, Looney Tunes, is almost entirely dialogue-based, at least the ones with, like, Bugs Bunny and stuff. I never really watched the Looney Tunes cartoons except because they came before Garfield. But still, it does show that that style of, you know, shows and stuff, that dialogue-based style, can be very popular. Granted, my web series is anything but popular, considering that I'm still losing subscribers, and I'm pretty sure it's not YouTube this time, it's just because I haven't uploaded anything meaningful for so long. But yeah, I just want to make a little quick update video to talk about what's going on behind the scenes and stuff. So for Infinity Bit Season 3, it is almost 100% done. Episode 7 is done, and if any of you guys have seen any of the series I do on my channel before, you know that a season consists of 8 episodes, so I only have to make one more 10-minute episode, and I'm working on it. I've got a few minutes done of it. Granted, if by a few minutes I mean like 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and 2 minutes and 40 seconds of that is just a black screen as of this point because I haven't filled in the footage. But I'm working on it. Episode 8 is definitely going to be kind of the black sheep in the series, if you know what I mean. It's gonna be, like, way completely different from all the other episodes in the sense that it's not gonna follow the same formula at all. That's not supposed to be a pun. So I just wanted to kind of talk about some raw things that I should put out there about Season 3, because it has been so damn long that I've been working on this thing. Like, I checked the dates, and for just episode 8, episode 7, for just episode 7 of Season 3 alone, I have been working for over half a year, which I did not think was a thing until I actually looked at the dates. And sure enough, it's January now. It was July when I had gotten a little bit of episode 7 done. July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So, like, 7 months. Over half a year. Easily. Which is insane. Spending almost, like, over half a year just on 8 episodes of just one season of a web series. To the point where, from what I can tell, the amount of time of making Season 2 and the amount of time of making Season 1 and the amount of time making the movie all put together is still not as long as the amount of time it took to make Season 3. I have been working for so many months on this, and it is mind-blowing, just how long I've actually been doing this now. And now that I actually look at the calendar and stuff, it's been almost a year since Infinity Bit started. The first episode was put out on I believe March 11th, because that was also the year anniversary of my gameplay thing that I used to do, which I plan to unlist those videos soon, because even they're starting to just be this thing on my channel that I don't really want there anymore. Granted, all the playlists of all the episodes I did of that will still be up. They'll still be extremely easy to watch, and there'll still be a little thing on my main channel page that'll show that if anyone just wants to go back for, I don't know, nostalgia purposes or anything. Definitely not to watch it unironically, because, I mean, even I can't do that, and I made them. It's just, looking back on those videos, I was such an asshole, and I hate myself so much whenever I watch them, so I just don't want them to be public anymore, or at least I don't want them to be public via search anymore. Similar to when I unlisted a whole bunch of my older videos, they'll still be up, and they'll still be watchable if you're just on my channel for the purpose of watching them. But if you're trying to search them up in the YouTube search bar, you won't get very far. So yeah, just figured I'd briefly mention that, but I made the Infinity Bit, I put out Infinity Bit Episode 1 as a year anniversary thing, which also means that now Infinity Bit's anniversary date is always going to kind of have that tagged along with it, which is unfortunate, but hey, I'm still excited. I've been doing this for almost a year now. It's so insane to me. And in that time, I have learned so much about filmmaking and about working on a budget of a sandwich. I mean, one of the things I say the most often when talking about the budget for Infinity Bit is that the budget is literally a peanut butter sandwich. Even though peanut butter sandwiches have nothing to do with Infinity Bit, but that is essentially the budget I'm working on. My green screen is wrapping paper, okay? And it's kind of interesting, because at some point I do plan on making a video just talking about how to make a web series on a budget of literally nothing, because I was able to make a web series on a budget of literally nothing, just using wrapping paper from the dollar store, which has stayed on my wall for about a year now at this point. It has been so long since I've seen a white wall where this green screen is. Using, like, MS Paint to make most of my backgrounds and stuff. Specifically MS Paint 3D, because it's a very easy, intuitive tool for making quick, messy 3D stuff that's very simple and gets the job done. Like, you just look at the Infinity Bit house. I can't really edit it in here, but if you've seen it before, it's a floor, a wall, a clock, a desk, a shelf. That's all it is. It's very simple. I mean, technically also a bed, but that's not really in the main front angle of it. It also doesn't really make sense since two people live there and there's only one bed. But hey, a lot of things don't make sense in Infinity, but like, why cars run out of gas if there are no resources, or infinite resources, or whatever. I get very off track when making these videos. All that being said, MS Paint 3D is a very easy tool for making quick little renders, and I've been using the same ones for so long now. Granted, MS Paint 3D is not great for trying to make long-term projects, especially ones with textures, like for example my little avatar that I made in MS Paint 3D. The last two versions of my avatar were made in MS Paint 3D. The most recent one is a little more detailed, and has a little more texture to it, and doesn't have lopsided arms, and also doesn't look as creepy as the last one. But when you save something like that that actually has textures on it, they get all screwed up and corrupted if you ever try to open that file again. Which kind of sucks if you're trying to, say if I wanted to reopen that and make a new avatar for this channel, which Cows the Best actually made my avatar for this channel, which is just the avatar for my my main channel, but he edited it so that it had all the Formula Fanboy 2 stuff, like the black shirt and the slightly darker symbol and the blue hair. It's actually quite great attention to detail. I gotta give you props, Cow. I always feel weird calling one of my friends Cow. But yeah, like, this is a completely budget show. I have always had a love for filmmaking ever since I was 9. I didn't quite realize it at that point, but like, literally back when I was just dangling Lego guys from strings in front of a camera. And that was such a great thing to me. Like, I used, those big foam puzzle pieces that you see in kids' rooms on the walls and stuff? You know what I'm talking about. Like, I put a green one and a blue one together in, like, this kind of shape. And that was my background. The blue one for the sky and the green one for the ground, the grass. And then I just dangled Lego guys off of strings that I pulled out of my pillow. And, like, I put their head down on their neck on top of the string and just dangled them in front of a camera with my friend. And that was, like, the coolest thing back then. So I've always had a great interest in this stuff, but the problem is that a lot of the time, if you really want to seriously get into this kind of stuff, you have to have either a sizable budget, or you have to have a lot of people working with you. In my case, I don't even have other actors. All that I have is me, a computer, and some wrapping paper. So, yeah. Like, and that's the thing, is that I'm still surprised that, at least I think, I was able to make characters that are somewhat distinguishable from each other when it's literally just me dressing up in different clothes and sometimes putting on a different voice or an accent or something. Like, Formula and Pill look completely different from each other, but they're still just me dressed up as something. But, anyways. Yeah, it's been so long since I started doing this. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, even though it is cringy and bad and almost impossible to watch unironically. I still think that I feel like I've accomplished what I set out to achieve. I made a little web series with characters and stuff. It got me started on learning how to make, on filmmaking and stuff. And from what I can tell, it's entertaining, because almost everyone that I show it to at school and stuff say that they like it and they watch the whole series, whether or not it's unironically. And you know what? I'm totally fine with people watching my thing ironically, because I get that it's very cringy and very bad. A lot of the times when I watch it, I like literally cry from all the cringe. That's just the thing I do. I tear up when I cringe too much. Like, the first episode is such a terrible impression. I know I've said this so many times, but good God, I hate it when I have to watch people watch the first episode. Because even if they don't care about how cringy and bad it is, I'm just dying inside when people watch it. So yeah, I'd much rather have people watching my series ironically and still getting some sort of enjoyment and laughter at it, even if it's at my expense, rather than just have a cringy little web series thing that you're supposed to watch unironically but nobody will ever take seriously, because you can't really take it seriously when it's filmed in front of wrapping paper. And also when there's a guy who screws cows is one of the main characters. I've never really thought about how fundamentally broken the show is. I actually recently, someone in my contact class at school, this is completely unrelated, the guy who sits next to me in my contact class, which since semester 2 is starting, I probably won't see him again, I showed him my series just recently, and we actually had like an in-depth discussion, not about the show itself, but about Infinity Bit, like as in the universe, the place that the characters are supposedly in, and like what the rule to that and all that is, which was like really weirdly enjoyable. I've never actually talked about that with someone before, nor has anyone been interested in it, and I can't really blame anyone for that. But yeah, once I'm done season 3, until further notice, I'm done with Infinity Bit. I'm going to start on that new series, which I have a lot of ideas for. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot more episodic than Infinity Bit, in the sense that it's going to be a lot like, I guess SpongeBob is the best example I can give, where you can just pick any episode and watch it with no context, and you'll still you won't have to watch the episodes in order. You could watch episode 8 and then episode 1 and then episode 7 and then episode 4 and then episode 2 and then episode 3. It doesn't matter in what order you watch it, although usually with season 1 of any show, even episodic ones, you should watch the first episode first just because it kind of sets the rules and stuff for the series. But the new series is going to take place in Infinity Bit. It's going to use characters that you've already seen in Infinity Bit. And I think it's going to be pretty great. I think the best way to sum it up is, if you liked Infinity Bit, I think you'll like the new series, and if you didn't like Infinity Bit, I'm going to improve on a lot of the stuff that Infinity Bit did terrible. So, I think that it's something for everyone to look forward to. Because a fresh start on this kind of thing is such a great feeling. Because honestly, I cannot wait until I have a series where I can actually show someone the first episode and not die inside. With that being said, Infinity Bit Season 3 is, for the last 2 episodes at least, gonna be a little bit all over the place. And what I mean by that is, a lot of you probably know by now that the reason why it took so long to make Infinity Bit was because every single possible thing that could have happened to stop progress on it pretty much happened. Like, for the first little bit, I just wasn't working on it too often. I made episode 1 almost as just a gag to myself. I didn't expect to make more episodes, but then, oh, look at that, I did. And then eventually, I think it was when I was starting to work on episode 5, and I realized that I finally got a sense of comedy that I really enjoyed, which is going to be the same sense of comedy I use for the new show, which is, you know, fast-paced, joke after joke, no filler, no long space in between the characters talking, just fast-paced joke, 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 stuff like that. And in my opinion, episode 5 is my favorite episode of the series. And I actually liked the style so much that I went back to episode 2 of season 3, which I really wasn't happy with at the time because I felt like there was too much filler in it and stuff like that. And I completely redid it. Or, not completely redid it, I re-edited it, but I added a whole bunch of new stuff. Like, most of you know by now that episode 2 of each season of Infinity Bit is the little movie skit thing where we put together a bunch of skits, of, like, just parodies and stuff. And I think there was, like, 3, including one that doesn't really count, in the original version of episode 2. It was really stretched out, the intro was really stupid, and it was just generally unpleasant, and I felt like I rushed it, and I wasn't proud of it at all, which was the complete opposite of what I wanted to do with Season 3. So, for the first time ever, I actually went back and redid an episode of Infinity Bit and made a new version, and I'm so happy that I did that. And I even added a new little skit to put in there, and I completely redid the intro. Then midway through filming episode 5, I got head lice, which, for obvious reasons, halted the production of Infinity Bit, because in Infinity Bit, a lot of the time, I have to dress up, I have to put on hats, I have to put on, you know, things on my face, and when you have head lice, that's not a great idea, especially because my shirt, the one that I use for Milfimo, hang on. The thing about this shirt is that the logo seems to slowly fade away every time I put it through the washer. Which means that I rarely ever wash it. Now, that's not really a bad thing because I like, never wear it unless I'm filming. So, A, I don't even wear it enough for it to get gross. And B, even if it did get gross, then I would never be wearing it around people. So, it doesn't really matter. But that's the thing. If, say, it got head lice on it, which I just assumed it would have and had to just to be safe, then I had to wash it. And I didn't want to have to wash it over and over again, because then eventually there just would be no logo. There would just be a big white piece of rubber where the logo used to be. And I can't get another one of those shirts, because the place that I got it at was like this little place in my mall that made shirts. They've gotten rid of that place. That place is not a thing anymore, and they replaced it with, like, I think a food convenience store. How weird is that? A convenience store in a mall? That doesn't make any sense. So, I stopped making Infinity Bit for like a few months because I completely underestimated how long it would actually take to get rid of head lice. It's the type of thing where when you go into it, you think, oh, I'll treat it once, it'll be fine. No, you have to treat it like four times. I think I had to treat it 4 times. And almost half the time the little combs that you use to get the nits out broke. So we actually had to go online and order a metal nit comb. Fun fact, that's where the term nitpicking comes from, is having head lice and trying to get it out with one of those tiny combs. And they would always include a plastic one with the treatment, and the tines would always break off. Eventually, we did get rid of it. I still waited a little while, because a lot of the time I would think, oh, I'm done with it, and then I would find another one just doing this. Because I would always get paranoid and start doing this just to see if anything was still there. But it's definitely gone now, but it's been gone for a while now. So I started making Infinity Bit again. I wasn't able to do it very often just because a lot of things that came into play with that, like school and chores even. As some of you may know, I'm very messy, so my room is not clean 9 out of 10 times. And when I do finally get around to cleaning it, it takes like a week, if not a month. So that definitely stopped making it for a little while as well, but that was a little bit lesser compared to what happened next, which was my laptop broke. The laptop that I had been using for over a year, that I had had since 2017, that I had used to make all of my videos for so long. And when it broke, it took everything with it, which included all of the projects I was working on for Infinity Bit. So all of the footage I had for the episodes that I hadn't backed up, because at that point in time, I had finished up to episode 6. I had a large majority of episode 7 done already. And I had backed all of the existing episodes, which was 1 through 6, on several hard drives, which was a good move, because otherwise I probably still wouldn't have those. But then, once my laptop broke down, I couldn't even make a new one, because I eventually got a new laptop, which is the one I'm using now. And I'm a lot more happy with this one, because it's not secondhand, so it's not in terrible condition, and it's actually very portable and compact. There's only 2 USB ports, and there's not even a disk drive, but I got used to it pretty quick. But the thing was, on that laptop, I had my video editing software, all of the backgrounds for Infinity Bit, all of the kind of video effects, so like the deleter, which, little behind the scenes secret for you, is literally just like an effect in front of a blue screen. It's not like stock footage, I made it. But still, it's just a thing in front of a blue screen that I have to edit in. It's the same asset every time. The only thing that changes is, I guess, dialogue, which you probably wouldn't understand since up to this point he hasn't talked. You know, and also, like, the video of panning, you know, when it's just the, like, outside panning, which is literally just one of the outside backdrops I made, panning to another version of the same backdrop looped. But it looks like, you know, if you put a character in front of it, it looks like they're walking forward. And that's the whole point of the effect. But I lost that too. I lost, like I said, all the footage, all the backgrounds. This is just the Infinity Bit related stuff. I also lost a whole bunch of other stuff that was important, but not related to this. And that was kind of a big deal, because the thing is, without the backgrounds or any of that stuff, I can't make Infinity Bit, and especially with Season 3, where the deleter is basically the main focus of the entire thing. Once I lost that effect, there was absolutely no chance that I would be able to keep making it until I got all those assets back. Now, I'm still not sure how my laptop broke. Specifically what happened was, at one point it just ran into a white screen of death, and at first I was able to plug it into HDMI and just connect it to my TV and use it there, at which point I probably should have backed up my files, but I'm an idiot, so I didn't, and I just looked up how to fix it because I was scared, oh no, my laptop's broken. And almost everything I looked at said, oh, we'll just reboot your laptop in safe mode. So I did that, and then the HDMI didn't even work. Not only that, but it was just acting generally weird. Like, instead of going into sleep mode when I pressed the power button, it would just turn off completely. And instead of booting back up slowly like it would if it turned off completely, it turned on instantaneously. And it also didn't connect to the internet. So at that point, I had no way of knowing if I just completely corrupted the thing and all of my files were lost. Very, very long story short, I eventually managed to get, I think one of my dad's friends took the laptop apart and took what would have been the internal hard drive of the laptop and just put it in a box. We got, like, one of those USB box things, one of those external hard drive boxes, and we just literally put the internal hard drive of the laptop into that. So now we basically literally have everything that was on my laptop, including the Windows operating system itself, just on this drive. Now, the problem with that is that that doesn't really work as easily as you'd expect it to. You can't really just plug it into another Windows computer and then get all your files back. Now, the folder where all the laptop... The folder where all the files were was just a folder called laptop. The problem was that for some reason I had no access to that. Even though it was from my computer, if I tried to open the folder via the USB drive, it would just say, you do not have access to this folder. So my friend Adrian, who's very tech-savvy and good with computers, we took it to his house, and he uses Linux, which is a lot better than Windows, I've got to be honest, but a lot worse for people who aren't smart, like me. So basically, he was able to override the access and get it unlocked, and then he went to drag it onto another USB drive that I have, which is the one that I usually have plugged into the Wii. By the way, rest in peace, the Wii Shop channel and Wii Netflix. Oh, now I'm sad again. So on this hard drive, we just dragged the folder from that, and surprisingly, it wasn't that much space. Like, I'm actually surprised on how little space it took up. The majority of the stuff in here is still free. Granted, it's a 2 terabyte drive, but still, like, I had a lot of stuff on that computer. Now, the thing about that is that you'd expect that to be a quick, easy process, right? But the thing is that when you're copying literally the entire contents of a computer, like, think about how much you have on your computer, assuming you have a computer. Now, imagine trying to copy all of that onto a drive. Imagine how much time that would take. So I actually had to leave this overnight at my friend Adrian's house to copy over. And eventually he just came, like, about 2 days later. It didn't take 2 days. It only took one night. But I couldn't do it the one day, so 2 days later he came to my house and just dropped it off. And, everything was still on there. All of my pictures, which is where I keep the Infinity Bit backdrop folder, all of my stuff was there. I even had a lot of the footage, and luckily for me, I didn't even know I did this, but I outputted a lot of the stuff that I did. I rendered, that's what I'm looking for. I rendered a lot of the stuff I did for Episode 7, and I was able to actually pick up pretty much where I left off in Episode 7, which was really neat. Now, the thing about this is that means that Episode 7, specifically, is very all over the place. Because originally Episode 7 was put together in a specific way, which was the way that it was intended to be edited, which was on that laptop. But since you can't really carry video editor projects over to another computer, since it'll still look in the same paths for that footage and stuff, and it's not going to be there since that was on the old computer, not the new one, then when it tries to find all the footage and all the backdrops and the pictures and stuff, it's just not going to. So I had to basically start re-editing it from scratch, which is a problem because that means that a lot of the stuff that made sense in the original version of episode 7 and went very smoothly now makes almost no sense and is just kind of distracting even. And it's still, you can still follow it. It's not completely unwatchable or anything, but it's the type of thing where you kind of have to bear with it on it. You know, it's the type of thing where I thought it was the best idea to, at the beginning of the episode, have a black screen and some text that says, basically, you know, the laptop broke, blah, blah, blah. Some things might seem off, because rewatching the episode, a lot of things seem off and out of place. And one of the things I had to edit where there would have originally been a transition, but I couldn't do that in this case, had to just be like, cut to a black screen for like half a second, cut to the footage, cut back to the black screen, and then cut back where it's supposed to be after that footage. Instead of having a smooth little transition with a sound effect and stuff, I had to do something like that. Which I didn't really have any other option, because I couldn't recover a lot of the files and a lot of the stuff that I had planned out for it. Holy crap, this video is half an hour. Okay, I'm going to try and wrap this up, because I know no one's going to watch this if it's over half an hour. But yeah, episode 8, I'm just completely starting from scratch, so I'm having a little trouble on how I'm going to do that, but it's a lot better to start from scratch than to have to try and take a bunch of recovered stuff and mesh it together into something, because considering how long it took to make episode 7, I was not going to start again on that. So yeah, episode 8, I am starting completely from scratch. Blank slate, like any other Infinity Bit episode would have been made originally, and I'm not pulling stuff from stuff I already did on the old laptop. So episode 8 will probably go a lot better than episode 7 did. So episode 7 is definitely going to be a little bit off from the rest of the season. And then after season 3, I'm done with Infinity Bit. It had a good run. I had a lot of fun making it. I hope that some people got any kind of enjoyment out of it, because that's really all I want. As a person with a strong passion for filmmaking, the only thing you could want more than anything else is for people to watch your stuff and get some kind of enjoyment out of it, because filmmakers make to entertain. Except for Adam Sandler, who makes to get a vacation. That's not even supposed to be a rip on Adam Sandler. That's just literally a fact. He admitted it. Speaking of movies, I do have a big movie that I plan to do this year. I'm not going to say much about it. I will say that it is Nintendo related. Not just Mario related, but Nintendo related. It's going to be a kind of sequel to the Formula Fanboy movie, but not really. It's not going to be called the Formula Fanboy Movie 2. It's not going to follow the Formula Fanboy Movie. If anything, it's going to seem more like an Infinity Bit movie, but it's not going to be that either. It's essentially going to be another channel movie set in the real world with real people, but it's going to use the Infinity Bit characters still. That doesn't mean it's part of the Infinity Bit canon, because it's not a part of the series officially at all. I'm just going to be using the characters from it. So, like, Pill will be there, Carl will be there, and the Nimrod Cops will be there, all that stuff. And it's probably, if all goes well, it's going to be an actual movie. Like, over an hour long, probably. Not, unfortunately, but I'm hoping to get something like that. Alright, well, I just want to say, if you actually watched to this point, thank you. Didn't know that you people existed. And, over here, you can go to my main channel, where you can also watch the Infinity Bit Season 3 trailer, and watch the content that I actually post, and be a part of the people who actually watch me, because this channel has 10 subscribers. Alright, peace out.